Hello friends, day 18. Bar is closed. Figure I'll start out with just some of the highlights going on for me right now. So we talked earlier on about replacing things in my life, whether it be replacing alcohol beverages with non-alcoholic beverages, and that replacement technology, or the replacement technology of replacing cigarettes with tobacco pipe, and just kind of switching up your whole routine, your whole vibe with different things. So I'm drinking a lot more tea. We've talked about the excess that, I'm still an excess person, so I'm definitely drinking way more coffee than I've drank in years. It's so like typical AA, everybody standing around the coffee machine kind of thing. So feels a little cliche, but it's happening. I'm definitely healthier, right? Like I'm 18 days into no alcohol in my body, and I'm long past the first couple of apples. Right? Like I'm eating fruit, I'm eating vegetables, I'm actually eating. And this was something that was interesting to me too, because, we talked about kind of the non-eating type of thing, and that could be a totally different kind of food disorder for me, because I definitely, from when I was in the filmmaking days to just running by and grabbing a couple of bites of something and working. But I was down with my typical barfly crew at the Wagon Box, and some long lifer heavy drinkers down there. And by the way, some of them are rather confronted with my sobriety at the moment, so that's another topic for another time. But anyway, they were talking about like husbands or wives that had passed, who were heavy drinkers all the way to the day they died, and really kind of stopped eating and just kind of swapped out booze for food, so you can live on booze calories, essentially, is what I'm saying. And I think that, albeit I wasn't to that extreme by any means, but enough of it to know what it feels like and what it could be like if you were fully invested in that kind of thing. So eating, I haven't really, I hadn't had an appetite. It's something I had to put my mind to. And I love the concept of food. I love the aroma. I love the romance of sitting down for a good meal. I love everything about it except for eating it typically. And I can't eat around people, and I lived in Manhattan for years, and so you got all the loud noise and background music and everybody talking, and so I'm always taking my shit to go and waiting till that quiet moment where I can eat my food, right? So I can just digest it and enjoy it. And then I fucking love it and wish I ate more. But long story short, I'm eating more. I got into the gym now, and I've got a membership to the gym. Whether I use it or not, well, I'll let you know for sure. Whether I actually make any use of it, that's another story. I've done this before. But I did take guitar lessons, or sign up for guitar lessons, and that's something I will be showing up for and on schedule. And really cool music teacher who's been around for 20-something years or more. She's the one who supplies all the high schools and junior highs with their instruments, and she was a music teacher in her day. And it reminds me of my one of my favorite English literature teachers in college, who was also a music teacher, and they're like cut from the same cloth. I swear they're like mirrors of each other, the same DNA, same gene pool. So I'm excited to get my chops busted for her and stick on my homework and do that. Definitely, skin and hydrated and no bags under the eyes. And in essence, I think also now albeit I have a romance with drinking, I'm kind of coveting this new level of sobriety at the moment. The idea of having a drink and breaking it feels like an assault. It feels like 2 days of not feeling right and not being back to the sober state of mind, I should say, right? Not so much like I'm not drunk, but a real keen, sober sense of mind. I'm afraid of losing it. It's that treasurable. It's that precious to me now. And so much is coming out of it. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I'm just starting to get the rewards, and they're starting to play out in front of me, and I can just now grasp them. So drinking is way out of the question. So again, sorry for not doing a crash and burn drama show here, but I don't see that happening. I do have thought a little bit about if and when I do go back to drinking, and how I would take it on in this new season in my life. And one of the things that I think, as I've been looking at it, is there's heavy drinking, there's moderate drinking, there's casual social drinking. And I'm used to, when I'm really busy and I've got a lot of different things going on, family and work to tend to, it's easy for me to not drink. Obviously, it's when I have more time on my hands than I need to and stuff that I can go there and choose to go there more often than not. But what I'm seeing now is that every time I've kind of like tried to, be moderate when I'm home alone, I'm doing regular drinking on a weekly basis. If I'm drinking 1 or 2 bottles of wine a week, then by the next week I'm drinking 1 or 2 bottles a week, if not 3. And then throw a few drunk nights in there a month later, and it's like the moderation never really stays moderate for me. I always try to take it to the level, and I've thought a little bit about why that is too, and I don't know if we'll get to it tonight, but maybe tomorrow. So now I don't want to be a heavy drinker, that's for sure. I can see myself as kind of desiring to be somewhat of a moderate drinker, but I know myself, and so I see that just kind of take me right back into some heavy drinking again, pretty easily. And then there's casual social drinking, no brainer, right? I can do that, but then when I'm super sober and digging it, I can see myself doing it less than, right? And I'm actually liking being the sober guy at the bar, drinking tea or a non-alcoholic beer while they're ranting and kind of having the different conversation and bringing that kind of big brother to a bunch of old man kind of attitude. I don't know, I like it. It's cool. It's the new rebel. But now I'm thinking it more on the lines of selective drinking. So not even social casual, but like selective. Like, yeah, hey, guess what, honey? I'm gonna blow it up by the lake on an overnight camping trip, and I'm just gonna bring this bottle of Jameson, and I'm gonna sit by that water, and I'm gonna drink it, and I'm gonna howl at the moon, or I'm gonna have some tequila at the party, or whatever. So selective drinking seems to be more on my radar now. And how can I integrate selective drinking and still have fun with it and have fun with others with it? Because as I said, there's aspects of my personality that I really like about when I get to drink and get playful and comedic and fun. And if it's not obnoxious, it can be good. So there's that. There's so much more I want to share with you. So another thing I think to kind of like dig in a little bit, maybe for the next time too, is the sense of duality that we constantly talk about with the mind, mind versus the heart. The heart really is about unity, and the mind has got this duality. In the duality, one of the things that I've been finding fascinating is that I thought, when did I start really drinking heavy, even in like binge or purger? That's what I used to always say. I was a binge or purger. I'd not drink for a long time. There could be alcohol in the house for weeks and I wouldn't touch it, and that was true. And then I would go out and get crazy drunk. But anyway, so, when did I first really start to experience that I like to get drunk mode? And I realized it was, when you first get your heart broken, back in teens. And, it's that you feel that wound and that grief. And then you drink the booze to make you feel it more, right? To really like soak it in. And now you're feeling more. And I think that's why it's so confusing when, as you get into a lifelong habit of drinking where you start to realize that it's numbing your emotions. It's numbing a lot of things for you because you have so long actualized it as something that was actually bringing out more emotion. And even until just recently, I was feeling like everybody else was numb and I needed to get drunk just to bring out some emotion, to bring out some passion, to bring out some freaking exhilaration, to bring out some nonsense, to just shake it up, for God's sakes. And so that's another, kind of the confusing dynamic of, and I think with a lot of alcoholics, I've seen it where like, they don't express themselves when they're not drinking, even less so than they used to when they were an alcoholic. And then they can really overly express themselves when they're drinking. And so flash forward to, adult life is obviously, as I'm looking at it, I'm still drinking for those feelings, but also if I look back at why I started getting drunk in the first place, it was over grief. And it probably isn't much different now, except for it was a silent grief. It was kind of a pity party about not getting everything I wanted in life, right? It not being perfect for me. And therefore, I had to silently suffer with this subconscious, subtle grief that I could just keep drinking away. So, day 18, musings and ramblings from a lifelong heavy drinker. Thanks for being with me.